Hello pretty people, I'm Izzy, aka the Quirky Environmentalist, and here on this channel, as well as my blog, I talk about ethical fashion, sustainable living, environmentalism, and lots of things of that nature, and sometimes not quite that nature. As I've talked about in previous videos, the current pandemic is having a massive impact on the fashion supply chain, especially on garment workers who are already vulnerable and at risk. Countless huge brands have refused to pay for orders that have already been made, leaving factory workers out of pocket and already vulnerable garment workers completely out of jobs. There is a campaign if you want to get involved called #PayUp, and this is naming and shaming brands who are not paying their supply chains for clothes that have already been made and trying to get them to pay for their suppliers. So I will leave a link in the description if you want to get involved in that. Now, a few days ago, the lovely Misha sent me a message on Instagram basically saying, have you seen this? This looks great, I'd love to know what you think about it. And it was the lost stock box. And then a few days later, it was all over my social media feed with a lot of the ethical and sustainable bloggers and writers I follow talking about it. And so I thought I would talk about it today on YouTube because it's been an interesting little dive into what it is and what it's doing, and yeah, I just want to talk about it. In essence, the lost stock box is a box of lost stock. What this box is doing is it's buying clothes from these warehouses who were working for the brands that have refused to pay their suppliers, and sells those clothes as a sort of mystery box to consumers here, giving money back to the garment workers who desperately need it. Warehouses are getting some money for this stock that they otherwise wouldn't, as well as a portion of the money from the lost stock box going directly to the Sajida Foundation, which is helping garment workers on the ground in Bangladesh. So a lost stock box has been created in order to directly support these families and workers, as well as to stop the clothing that's being made ending up in landfill somewhere. They aim to support 50,000 workers by the end of 2020, and so far, yesterday I checked, it was 19,000 and today it's 32,000, so they're doing pretty well in their mission. Now, how does this actually work? Because I've said it's a mystery box of clothes. Well, you do get some choices about what's in there. You get to choose your gender of clothing, your size, so that goes from XL to XXL, which isn't a huge size range, and they could probably improve on that, but it depends what clothes are actually in these factories, what size range they can do. They probably don't have much control over that. How old you are, so I guess you get clothing that fits the styles of each generation, whether you want neutrals, brights or darks, and then whether you want patterned or plain tops. Pretty simple. You get 3 or more pieces of clothing, half the price they would retail for, sent to your door in a box. Bit of a mystery box. Kind of fun, and you feel good knowing that you supported garment workers as well as stopped clothing going directly to landfill. Seems great. Reasonably transparent about everything. I think they could be a little bit more transparent, but I'm going to give them a bit of the benefit of the doubt, seeing as they just started in the middle of a pandemic. But they've got a price breakdown where 30% goes to product costs, 37% goes to the Sajida Foundation, which is their NGO partner, and then you've got little bits that go to transport, postage and the staff costs. So it seems like they're not actually making money out of this, which is good, that's what I expect. And that a lot of the money goes to the product costs, which I assume goes to the factories, and the Sajida Foundation, which are helping garment workers on the ground in Bangladesh. I hadn't actually heard of the Sajida Foundation before this video, but looking into their work, they are based in Bangladesh. They work across a number of districts within Bangladesh, and they have been the first people on the front line in Bangladesh supporting people with coronavirus. From their hospitals to giving out food parcels to helping with hygiene, setting up water stations and hand washing stations, educating people on the passing on of coronavirus and washing their hands and all of that stuff, and now supporting garment workers and their families. Yeah, they seem like a really good fit for this, I was gonna say collaboration, but partnership. Everything seems great. You get some clothes, kind of guilt-free, support workers, you know, But I do have one issue with this. The scheme here is run by Mallzee. Morsy is, and they call themselves the Tinder of fashion, is an app. You go on, you can swipe through clothes you do and don't like, and it makes it super easy to buy clothes from over 150 brands, and they offer lots of discounts and sort of, yeah, basically it's a fast fashion website, makes it easier and cheaper to buy clothes, which seems a little odd, seeing as they have brands on their website that are directly responsible for this crisis because they haven't paid their suppliers, and they're also on the side of trying to support the garment workers, just a little bit like they're playing both sides. Like they're supporting these brands by having them on their website and essentially promoting them, whilst also cleaning up their mess. Like, does this not seem a little bit weird to anyone else? At the time of recording this, a lot of brands have now agreed to pay up, which is great. The only one I found on Mallzee's website that still have not agreed to pay their supply chains is Topshop. You can still shop Topshop through Mallzee, they've still got loads of their items on there. But there are also countless brands on the Mallzee app that have only now just paid up because of the pay up campaign and because of consumer pressure to get them to pay up. So brands like Adidas, you've got Zara, you've got Marks and Spencer's, Nike, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Vans, North Face, Timberlands, all of these are available on Mallzee's website and have only just agreed to pay for orders because they've been pressured into it, and I don't think they were removed from Mallzee's website whilst they were refusing to pay. On their website, this idea of swiping, it makes it super easy to buy lots of clothes, to buy lots of cheap clothes, and that just doesn't fit into the slow fashion mindset that this box seems to emulate with stopping clothing going to waste. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the lost stock box is inherently a bad thing, and I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this isn't one massive marketing ploy because it looks like there's been a lot of work put into it, and I'm sure Morsy will make some sales off this, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that this wasn't the main reason they did it. But does it not seem a little bit weird to anyone else that they are directly supporting the brands by having them on their website whilst also cleaning up their mess? Like, that just doesn't compute in my brain properly. They also say on their website you get 3 items of clothing from top brands. I'm sorry, but any brand that is refusing to pay their supply chains at the moment and putting workers in these warehouses at risk is not a top brand. I know that they're trying to say it so that people will buy it and they think, oh, it's brands that I know and love already, but the wording rubs me the wrong way because I don't think that it's a top brand if it's putting all these workers at risk. That's not top in my books. So that wording on the Lost Stock Box website is dodgy. And what I'd love to see from Morsy going forward with this is learning from the lost stock situation and maybe switching over to not supporting the brands and not having the brands on here that caused this issue in the first place, and I don't know, maybe switching over to be more of an ethical and sustainable brand app. I know that there's a market for it. Lots of people new for sustainable and ethical fashion would find an app like this, maybe one that's less in your face about trying to get you to buy stuff all the time, but that is how they make money. But I mean one where there's loads of ethical brands and sustainable brands in one place, and it makes it easy to find brands that align with your values. I don't know, it's just a suggestion and looks a lot less hypocritical than what they're currently doing. I also want to add to this that it looks very much like Mallzee, who own Lost Stock Box, are making this big bid to help garment workers when it makes them look good and when they can make money off it indirectly through Mallzee. But garment workers are treated awfully on a daily basis all around the world without the coronavirus. Okay, this is making things worse and making them more vulnerable, but if Mallzee and the people at Mallzee really cared that much about garment workers, then I'd like to see them make a change to their business year-round to protect garment workers, not just when it looks the best for them. So if you are on the lookout for some new clothes and you were thinking you wanted to support garment workers, save some money, you're new to ethical fashion, I think this box is a good thing for you. But please get this box, and then do not go and support the fast fashion brands through Mallzee. Like, or fast fashion generally. If you're disgusted by what's happening at the moment, then you'll probably be disgusted by what goes on in the fast fashion supply chain every single day. The two, to me, do not go together, even though they sort of are in this situation. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to order a box. I kind of do need some summer clothes, but as someone who hasn't bought fast fashion in years, even this seems a little bit odd to me. I'm not sure how much I need the clothes. I could make it into a sustainability project where if I don't like a piece I've been given, I can upcycle it or, you know, alter it, and we can make that a thing. So let me know what you think. If you'd like me to order one and you think you'd find that useful, you want to see what the box is like. I also want to see if the brand's labels are in there and see if we can name and shame some brands that are in this box, because, you know, I am interested to see if they've kept the labels from the brands on. But yeah, let me know what you think on that front. If loads of people are going to find it useful for me to get one, then I will. I do kind of need some summery clothes. Most of my summery clothes don't fit me anymore. So yeah, let me know what you think about this lost stock box in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think that this is a marketing scheme by Morsy that has also got some goodwill in it, or what do you think? Are you planning to buy one of these boxes? Let me know, and I will see you in my next video next month. We will have lots of Pride content. I'm very excited for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.